Folsom, California tends to be one of the most requested areas that you guys reach out to us about, and there's a lot of reasons why.
Today's video is going to be the only video that you'll need to watch if you're thinking about relocating to the greater Sacramento metro area, specifically Folsom, California.
So today we're going to be covering some of the best neighborhoods in Folsom, California, as well as some of our own pros and cons of things that you should know about before moving to Folsom.
Let's check it out.
Now, you've probably landed on this video because you're thinking about making a move to Folsom, California, and purchasing a home in a brand new area can be extremely scary. So you're probably wanting to get a little bit familiar with the lay of the land, what makes Folsom awesome, what makes Folsom not so awesome, and if you can see yourself living here or any of the other areas that we've highlighted on this channel before.
Now we are going to touch on some of the different neighborhoods that are in Folsom, as well as some of the pros and cons and things to do out here. But some of the reasons that a lot of people like Folsom are going to be because of all of the different opportunities that you have out here. So being in Folsom, there's a huge job market. It's one of the main reasons we see a lot of people interested in Folsom when they first reach out to us. Folsom's also known for its amazing schools. You've got great schools from elementary all the way up through the high schools. And the other thing about Folsom is you have a ton of outdoor recreation. There's trails that weave all around this city. There's waterways over here with Lake Natoma. There's tons and tons of things to do. If you're a cyclist, there's a huge cycling community here as well.
So we're gonna jump right into all of that. We're gonna take you around to 6 of the top neighborhoods in Folsom, California, as well as covering some of our pros and cons. So let's go check it out. All right, so the first neighborhood that we're gonna be touching on and our first pro of the video today, we're going to be located out here in Briggs Ranch. Now, Briggs Ranch is going to be one of the best neighborhoods or one of the most highly sought after neighborhoods in Folsom. Now, location-wise, it's going to be located more towards the north side of Folsom. You're going to be just south of Natoma Boulevard. You're going to be just south of Folsom Lake, but these are going to be some pretty awesome, pretty badass homes. So as you can kind of see behind me, they're very big, grand, estate-like feel. And a lot of the homes in this neighborhood are gonna be built kind of between that 1990 and 1998, with some of these homes being about 1,700 square feet all the way up to about 4,000 square feet. So just kind of flipping it around here, you can kind of see some of these homes are just massive, big, beautiful, kind of estate-like properties. You got a lot of cul-de-sacs in here, a lot of courts. So the cool thing about this neighborhood is a lot of these homes are gonna sit on these big, massive kind of estate-like lots. So definitely a lot different than what you see in a lot of your new construction communities, but that's kind of one of the more desirable things about this neighborhood. Now, since we're on the north side of Folsom and we're actually a little bit closer to Folsom Lake, that's going to lead us into our first pro for Folsom, which is going to be all of the different outdoor recreation and all of the different things that you have available for you to do in Folsom. So one of the main reasons why we love Folsom so much is going to be all of the different outdoor recreation that's kind of built in within the city. So you're really close to Folsom Lake. You're also super close to Lake Natoma. So you have all the different outdoor water sports, all the different outdoor recreation sports that you can do at both of those places. So Lake Natoma is going to be a little bit smaller. You're not going to be able to ride motorized boats out at Folsom Lake. So it's great for paddleboarding, great for kayaking. And then you're going to have Folsom Lake, which still has all the same fun stuff. You can do paddleboarding, you can do kayaking out there. But you can also take, if you have a fishing boat, you have a ski boat, you can do all of that stuff out at Folsom Lake as well, which is awesome. There's a ton of different bike trails and cycling that you can do within Folsom. So you can do mountain biking out at Folsom Lake. You can do cycling on all the miles and miles of trails. You're pretty close to the Johnny Cash Trail from this neighborhood as well too. So you got miles and miles of trails, miles and miles of outdoor recreation and fun things that you can do, which makes this neighborhood really awesome. And it's also what makes Folsom really awesome as well too. So very cool area, but that's kind of one of the things that we love about Folsom is just all the different outdoor recreation that you can do out here. The other cool thing about the cycling community is there's actually trails that you can take from Folsom and you can bike all the way down to downtown Sacramento. So a lot of times they'll ride their cycling bike all the way to downtown Sacramento. They'll get some beers, they'll refuel, maybe grab some pizza, and then they'll head back. So you can do it either which way. You can be in downtown Sacramento, you can ride to Folsom, or you can be in Folsom and you can ride to downtown Sacramento. So Lauren's gonna take you to our next neighborhood and we're gonna check that out.
All All right, so Lance just took you around Briggs Ranch, which is an awesome neighborhood located in Folsom. Now, the next neighborhood that I'm going to share with you is located right next to Briggs Ranch, and it's called Willow Creek Estates. Now, Willow Creek Estates is located super conveniently. It's on the northern side of Folsom, on the south side of Folsom Lake. So being over here, you're extremely close to a bunch of trails, a bunch of outdoor recreation. Now, this neighborhood, you're also going to be a little bit further away from Highway 50. So if you need easy access to the freeway, this might not be the best place for you, but I absolutely love this neighborhood. It's got cute charm. It's really well taken care of. There's pride of ownership that shows throughout this entire neighborhood. Now, one other thing about Willow Creek Estates is that it's located super convenient if you've got a middle schooler. The middle school is actually kind of the center part of this neighborhood. So you can kind of see behind me over there, I don't know if you can hear them, there's a bunch of kids screaming. They're out at recess right now. But you are super close to Folsom Middle School, which is really, really nice if you've got a middle school aged kiddo, because living in this neighborhood, that kiddo could walk to and from school. Now, the homes in this neighborhood are going to be a little bit older. They're going to be more of that kind of ranch style home. You've got 2 stories and single stories. Now, homes in this community were built between 1970 and 1999. So there is a potential that you might find a fixer in here. You also might find one that's been already completely redone, which is super nice. But if you find a fixer, it might be a little bit cheaper than some of the other neighborhoods, so keep that in mind. Now, this neighborhood feeds to the newer built high school in Folsom. So this neighborhood actually feeds to Vista Del Lago High School. So if you've got a high school aged kiddo, they will be going to Vista Del Lago if you live in this neighborhood. Now, back to the type of homes that you can find here. Now, you can find single story and 2-story homes. You can find anything from a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home all the way up to a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom home in this neighborhood. So there is something on the smaller side if you're looking for a home that's maybe not quite as large, but you can also find larger style homes in here as well. Now, one of the reasons that I really like this neighborhood is going to be that because these homes are older homes, you are going to have much larger backyards. Now, these homes also don't sit on top of each other, which is super, super nice. So if you're looking for a home for a potential to have a pool, or maybe already has a pool, the fact that these homes sit on larger lots is really nice. You can do a ton of different things with a larger backyard. Now, being that this neighborhood is a slightly older neighborhood, there's going to be a ton of mature tree growth throughout. So you can kind of see behind me all of the larger trees that kind of line the street, as well as the mature foliage that shows throughout this neighborhood. It just kind of gives it a more mature, really nice feel. Now, Willow Creek Estates is super close to a couple of different convenient things, like you've got a Target close by, you've got a Trader Joe's close by, and you're also close to the Mercy Hospital of Folsom as well. Now, just like Lance shared with you of one of his favorite things about Folsom, or a pro, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite things. Now, one of my favorite things about Folsom is definitely its historic charm. So one of the best things about Folsom is it just kind of feels different from any other city or suburb outside of Sacramento. So I love the historic charm that Folsom has, especially if you look at downtown historic Folsom. So where we filmed the intro, that's going to be the historic Folsom part. It's located on Sutter Street. There's a ton of locally owned restaurants there. There's also a fun little coffee shop. There's a candy store. But it just kind of has a quaint feel. It has that old style spirit. I know a lot of kids like to go to Sutter Street Steakhouse for prom because it's an upscale fancy restaurant. So when the kiddos are all dressed up, it's a great place to go. It's also a great place to go for a date night for just you and your husband. But I love the historic charm and feel that Folsom has that you really can't find anywhere else. Some other surrounding cities do have a little historic area, but none of them compare when it comes to Folsom and the scene that you get down at Sutter Street.
All right, so now the third neighborhood that we're going to talk about in our video today is actually going to be where I'm located right now, which is going to be called the Parkway. Now, it's going to be southeast of Blue Ravine Road, and it's going to be west of East Natoma. I know a lot of different north, south, east, and west in that, but basically it's still going to be in one of the more established neighborhoods of Folsom. Now, the cool thing, and the thing I probably love most about this neighborhood, is that you have over about 240 acres of protected wetland space. You've got about 18 to 20 miles of different trails that you can kind of check out. So, you know, the cool thing is about this particular neighborhood is you kind of have these streets that wrap around, and then at the end of these streets, they're going to have parkway, this kind of like trail system that you can just go for miles and miles and miles on these trails. So you've got some parks, you've got some pretty awesome like wetland area. I'm gonna flip this around here real quick so you can kind of check it out. You've got a ton of different like protected wetlands that are going to be kind of intermingled throughout this, you know, kind of trail area. So super cool, but definitely one of those things where, you know, this neighborhood has a little bit of uniqueness to it. Now this neighborhood is going to have about 3 neighborhood parks. It's going to be right around 1,900 homes that are going to range anywhere from 3 to 5 bedrooms that go from about 1,900 square feet all the way up to about 3,000 square feet. So super cool neighborhood, a lot of single stories in here. You have a couple of 2 stories, but very clean, very well kept neighborhood. This is probably, outside of American River Canyon, which we're not going to talk about today, this is probably one of my top favorite neighborhoods in Folsom. So you've got an elementary school right here, but just some of the walking trails, some of the parks. You've got a nice little bridge over here. Just a super cool area as it relates to some of that stuff. You got kids that are over, you know, it's nice because it seems like everybody's just out and about and around. Now, the other thing about this neighborhood is that the parkway does have an HOA. So when you look at some of the B-roll of some of the neighborhood in this footage, you're gonna notice that all the front yards look awesome. And that's kind of the nice thing about this HOA is they do take care of your front yard. So it's not like you're paying an HOA for absolutely nothing. You do get some lawn service out of it, which is super nice. Now, during this section of our video, we're gonna hit our first pro for this section, and that's gonna be all of the different things to do in Folsom. Now, Lauren's gonna touch a little bit about the historic area of downtown Folsom, or Old Town Folsom, which, I mean, it's one of my absolute favorite places. But one of the things that I love about Folsom is all the things to do, specifically down on Sutter Street. I'm not gonna touch about it too much, but you know, definitely one of my favorite places when we used to go down there in my 20s. We used to go to all the bars, Powerhouse, Sutter Club. We would check out Folsom Lake Hotel. Tons of cool places that you can check out, grab a beer. It's got a really cute historic town vibe, but then you've got just all the other things in Folsom. So I would say Folsom is one of the top 3 areas in the greater Sacramento metro as it relates to things to do. It's just one of the more populated or one of the more developed areas. So Roseville is gonna be part of that, but Folsom is gonna be kind of its competitor as it relates to just all the different things that you can do. So you're gonna have all the different shopping, you're gonna have the Palladio, you're gonna have some of that stuff. Lauren's gonna touch on some of the shopping, but you're also gonna have things like the Folsom City Zoo, you're gonna have Sequest, which is gonna be out by the Palladio, and then you're gonna have a ton of different community events. So a couple of the things that I really like as it relates to Folsom is every year they do the Folsom Pro Rodeo. The Folsom Pro Rodeo is gonna be one of those things that's one of my favorite events. They have an awesome fireworks show that happens all the time. That happens every year on the 4th of July. You're gonna have a summer concert series that are gonna be down in the Old Town Sutter Street area as well. And then you're also gonna have like a holiday ice skating rink that's gonna be down there during the winter time or the Christmas time. So definitely tons of fun things that you can do in Folsom that makes it one of the best places that you can live in the greater Sacramento metro. Now, leading into one of our cons for Folsom, and we've talked about this in a couple of the other videos, but Folsom is going to have a limited or lack of public transportation. Now, that's kind of a theme for the greater Sacramento metro, whether you're in downtown Sacramento, you're in Roseville, any of the major metropolitan areas. We just don't have a huge or very in-depth infrastructure as it relates to our public transportation system. So we do have light rail. Light rail can take you from Folsom down to downtown Sacramento, but for the most part, it is going to be limited or somewhat lacking. So keep that in mind. If you're a person that doesn't have a car, or you don't realize that Sacramento or the greater Sacramento metro can be very car dependent, that is something that you should know if you're moving from like a big metropolitan city to here, is you are going to need a car to get around for most of your daily activities, whether you're in Sacramento, Folsom, Roseville, or any of the other places. So Lauren's going to show you the next neighborhood that we're going to check out, and we're going to keep rocking and rolling.
All right, so Lance just talked to you guys about the Parkway. Now, the next neighborhood that I'm in is gonna be Broadstone. Now, Broadstone is an awesome neighborhood. There's so many different things that I love about this neighborhood. It's probably one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of Folsom. Now, Broadstone is located just north of Highway 50, close to the Palladio, and it's also close to Broadstone Plaza. Now, homes in this neighborhood were built between 1990 all the way up until the early 2000s. And this neighborhood is extremely well kept. It's super clean. And one of my favorite things about Broadstone is that it's kind of centered around the Broadstone Racquet Club. So I'm on a trail right now, but back behind me, there's this like kind of foliage right here. This actually goes down, those are treetops. And then sitting down there, there's a racquet club, which is an amazing, amazing sports complex facility. My daughters do swim team for Granite Bay. We've come out to this racquet club for many, many swim meets. It's amazing. They have a gorgeous pool facility, tons of tennis courts, tons of pickleball courts, an awesome fitness center, weights, everything you can really think of. So one of my favorite things about Broadstone is the proximity to this racquet club. Now Folsom also has like a Lifetime Fitness, and kind of your big box, retailer name gyms. You can find those in Folsom too. But I love the quaintness of the Broadstone Racquet Club, and being in this neighborhood, the fact that you've got all these trails that kind of lead you to that racquet club is super, super cool. So you don't even have to take your car to get there. You could go for a run or a jog and then get your cardio in on your way to the gym, which is really, really awesome. Now back to the homes. So homes here were built in the early 90s up until the early 2000s. Now you can find single stories, you can find 2 stories, you can find 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes ranging from 1,500 square feet all the way up to 5 possible 6-bedroom homes with lofts, giant 2 stories with 3 to 4 bathrooms. So you can find just about anything size-wise to really accommodate a large family or a smaller family here, which is really, really nice. And I love all of the trails just that are connected into this community, into this neighborhood. All right, I'm kind of at a better spot now where you can kind of see the racquet club behind me, which is just super, super cool, super convenient. But this neighborhood is extremely well kept. You've got gorgeous homes, super nice. It's very, very clean, kid friendly. Now, other reasons that I absolutely love Broadstone is the proximity and how close you are to all of the restaurants, all of the food. Now, if you're a mom like me who you normally do all of the cooking for your family, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it is nice to be close to restaurants so that you can get out and not have to cook for a night. So the nice thing about Broadstone is you're close to the Palladio, you're close to shopping, and it's maybe a 2 to 5 minute car ride to get to just about all of the main restaurants here in Folsom. You're also super close to Chick-fil-A, my only favorite fast food restaurant, really the only fast food place that I will eat at. So just being in Broadstone, you're super close to a lot of convenient, nice things, which is really, really awesome. Now, let's talk about a pro for Folsom. So I kind of already touched on it in talking about the Broadstone neighborhood, but I would definitely say that a pro for Folsom is all of the shopping that you've got out here, all of the restaurants. So one of the nice things is that with Folsom, you don't have to leave Folsom if you don't want to. You've got the Palladio, which is kind of their big outdoor shopping center. Tons of different shops. You got boutique style shops. You've also got some name brand stores like Nordstrom Rack, Victoria's Secret, White House Black Market. They have a ton of different shops, which is really, really convenient, really, really cool. And now you're also super close to restaurants. Like I said, that's really nice. Now, a lot of other suburbs besides Folsom, you would have to leave and go to another city to accomplish any of your shopping kind of needs. When it comes to like clothing and that type of shopping. So it's nice that with Folsom, you don't have to leave. You don't have to go to Roseville. You don't have to go to the Galleria if you don't want to. They have plenty of stores to accommodate everything that you need right here. Let's talk about one of the cons. Now, one of the cons to me for Folsom is that it is, I'd say suburb-wise, it's probably one of the more crowded suburbs. It's one of the top places that we get people reaching out to us about moving here. So it can be more crowded when it comes to, going out and doing things like going to restaurants. The restaurants out here are going to have a little bit longer of a wait. You're also going to be dealing with, more crowds kind of when you go to the waterways like Lake Natoma during the summer. That place gets pretty busy. So just kind of think through those things. It's not necessarily a deterrent. I wouldn't say it's a reason to not live here, but it is something to definitely be aware of. But besides that, Folsom is awesome. I really love everything they have to offer. And I would definitely say Broadstone's one of my favorite communities. So if you're interested in Broadstone or you'd like to learn more information about this neighborhood, that phone number should be popping up. Like we said before, we do answer every single email, phone call, and text message. We'd love to show you some of the resales that are in this neighborhood or in any part of the greater Sacramento metro. All right, so the next neighborhood that we're at in Folsom, California is gonna be Empire Ranch. Now, Empire Ranch is a gorgeous neighborhood, extremely well kept. A lot of people actually look to purchase an Empire Ranch, especially if you're a golfer or you wanna be close to a golf course. Empire Ranch is actually the only golf course in all of Folsom. And one of the cool things about this neighborhood is Folsom has a ton of hills that kind of weave through it. And Empire Ranch sits kind of up on these hills. So some homes in here will have a great view. Some homes don't have a view, some homes back to a fairway. So there's a ton of different things that make Empire Ranch super special. Just kind of a unique location, completely different than any other feel inside of Folsom. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the houses in Empire Ranch. Now here you can find a multitude of different styles of houses. You can find single stories, you can find 2 stories, you can find homes that are around 1,600 square feet, all the way up to 4,000 square feet. 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, kind of your standard single story home, but then you've also got some really grand 2-story homes that you can find here as well. Now, again, one of my favorite things about Empire Ranch is just some of the stunning views that you can find throughout this neighborhood. And just really, it kind of has a quiet, peaceful feel to it. So like I'm walking up and down the street right now, there's really nobody out, super quiet. It just really has a mature, nice feel. I love all of the different trees that are in this neighborhood. If you're a home that backs up to a fairway, you've got that big green open space, which is really, really nice too. All right, so let's talk about a pro to Folsom. Now, I would say if you're thinking about living in Folsom, one of the biggest pros to Folsom is going to be the schools here. Now, Folsom has a great public education system from elementary schools all the way up until the high school. It's one of the main reasons people watching our channel, it's one of the first places they always think about is because of the highly, highly rated schools here. Now, both of their high schools, currently Folsom has 2. You've got Vista del Lago, you've also got Folsom High School. Both of these schools rate a 10 out of 10 overall on greatschools.org, and they also rate really highly when it comes to college readiness and test scores. So if you've got kiddos and you're looking to make a move, Folsom might be the right place for you just based on the education system here. Now, one thing I can tell you is these schools also offer great sports programs. Both of my daughters are competitive when it comes to sports. So we've been out to Folsom High School for multiple different track events as well as cross-country events. My other daughter does swim and water polo, and I can tell you that the teams out here are super competitive. The people out here are super, super nice. The parents are nice. One other thing is that Folsom High School is also super highly rated when it comes to football. So if you've got a kiddo who really likes football, maybe wants to try to take their football career to the next level, Folsom High School is definitely the school that you're going to want to think about if they want to play maybe at the college level. Now, Folsom High School has tons of different recruiters that are always watching kids coming out of this program. One of the main reasons for that is because Folsom High School, year after year, so many different times has made it to the state championship game. Last year they won the state championship game. So they're just a really, really great program. Great for getting your kid known and seen at the college level if they're planning on going beyond high school. Now that I've shared with you my pro, the schools out here, amazing, awesome. The con is gonna be the one thing that I think I hate the most about Folsom. And that is gonna be, I just don't like how this city's set up. I'm just gonna say it out there. The streets confuse me. It's not like a normal grid fashion where you can just go down to the end and turn right and you're like 2 blocks up or what have you. They're very like windy streets. Mainly that's because of the way the land is out here with all of the different hills. So the streets are kind of curvy and windy. And there's been times where I'll plug into my GPS that I needed to get to a certain point and it'll take me just completely on this like U shape way out of the way. But apparently it's quicker, but it's still kind of confusing. It's just the way the streets are set up. So I would say that's my least favorite thing about Folsom is I think that the streets are confusing. Sometimes it's hard to figure out where you're going based on trying to get across town. But I'm sure people that, live in Folsom all the time, you get used to it. You know the streets like the back of your hand. We're out here a lot and I still seem to get lost. So that's just something to keep in mind. Not necessarily a big con because everybody's got GPS in their car these days. But for me, I just don't like how the streets are kind of windy and curvy. But other than that, Folsom is great. So next, Lance is going to share with you one of the newer developments out here in Folsom, which is another awesome community. So make sure you stick around for the last neighborhood, which is going to be just a great area and a great thing if you're thinking about new construction in Folsom.
All right, so our last and final neighborhood that we're gonna take you to as a part of this best video series for if you're thinking about moving or relocating to Folsom, California, is going to be Folsom Ranch / Russell Ranch. So we started off in the north side of Folsom. We worked our way all the way to the south side of Folsom. So now we are at the furthest point south as it relates to different neighborhoods. Now, Folsom Ranch and Russell Ranch are gonna be the top two up and coming neighborhoods in Folsom, California, if you're thinking about new construction. So one of the main reasons why a lot of you guys reach out to us about Folsom is going to be specifically for the new construction homes. So you can see a bunch of different concrete slabs and driveways that are poured behind me. We are actually out in the Taylor Morrison development right now. We've got Toll Brothers that are building two communities just a little bit further south of us at Regency and Preserve. And then we're looking up towards all the different developments. So you're gonna have builders out here like Tri Point, Beezer, KB Homes is supposed to be having a development that's gonna be launching here in the summer of 2024. You're gonna have Lennar, you're gonna have Richmond American, JMC had a development not too long ago, but this is going to be kind of the mecca of new construction in the Folsom area. So granted, you know, we do have 4 or 5 other areas in the greater Sacramento metro for new construction, but Folsom, this is gonna be it for new construction. So if you're thinking about new construction or you're wanting to get that type of home in Folsom, California, this is where we're gonna start looking. This is what we're gonna talk about when we hop on that Zoom call. So the nice thing about Folsom Ranch and Russell Ranch is it's practically all brand new homes. There's supposed to be about 11,000 homes in total between Folsom Ranch and Russell Ranch. And there's gonna be a new high school, Folsom Ranch High School, a new middle school, Folsom Ranch Middle School, and then right now they have one elementary school getting ready to build the second one. So you've got Mangini Elementary, plus you're gonna have another elementary school that's gonna be popping up here pretty quick. Now, since we are on our last neighborhood, that is going to lead me to our last con, which is going to be housing affordability. So one of the things that always ends up being a topic of conversation when people are considering moving to Folsom is going to be the housing affordability here. So the cost of living in Folsom is going to be a little bit more expensive. So when we compare communities like Taylor Morrison or Toll Brothers or you know, any of the different developments that are going to be out here, you are going to spend a little bit more money for the home in Folsom than you would in, let's say, a neighboring city like Roseville or Rancho Cordova or even Elk Grove. So keep that in mind. It is a little bit more expensive to purchase a home in Folsom, whether you're in some of the old neighborhoods like Briggs Ranch or Willow Creek Estates, or if you're going to be out here in the newer developments like Folsom Ranch or Russell Ranch, the housing cost is going to be a little bit more expensive. Now, the pro to Folsom that we really didn't talk about is this is going to be one of the 5 areas that you can find a new construction home in the greater Sacramento metro. So there are new construction homes all throughout the greater Sacramento metro, but this is going to be one of the top 5 clusters of new homes out here. So whether or not Folsom makes the most sense for you, or you want to explore why maybe one of the other cities in the greater Sacramento metro might make more sense, on these videos we just want to give you the pros and the cons, the goods and the bads of some of these areas, and just give you kind of perspective on some of these neighborhoods, right? We talked about Briggs Ranch, Parkway, Willow Creek Estates, Empire Ranch, Broadstone, Folsom Ranch, Russell Ranch, all are great areas. And there's even many more communities or neighborhoods that are gonna be awesome as well too. So that was our best video of Folsom, California. We touched on the best neighborhoods, we touched on some of our pros and cons, and then just a high level overview about what makes Folsom, California so awesome and one of the most requested cities that you guys reach out to us about time in and time out. Now, you may love Folsom, or you absolutely may get here and realize that it's not the city for you, but that's what this whole channel is about. We want to make sure that you're getting to experience all that the greater Sacramento metro has to offer. Most of the time when you guys reach out to us, it's not always about what makes the most sense, but it's also about ruling out some of these areas that are just going to be absolutely hard-nosed for you guys.
So that phone number should be popping up. We are the ones that answer every single phone call, text message, and email, and we love helping you guys with your move to the greater Sacramento metro. So like we said earlier, Folsom might be the right place for you. It might not be. We've got a lot of people that reach out and they think Folsom's going to be it, and then when we show them around, they think, oh, maybe not. So definitely reach out to us so that we can narrow down some of the areas, get to understand why you're moving here, what's important to you, and so we can also suggest some areas that you might not be aware of.
Yep, so go ahead and check out that other playlist that's gonna be popping up right here after this video. So check out all the different videos that we've put on this channel as it relates to all the different areas and see if maybe there's another area that might pique your interest a little bit more. And we'll catch you on the next one.